News 12's Kay Blevins introduces us to those working to make a difference in your community with Kay.
Brought to you by Zaxby's.
Welcome back, everyone. We are diving underwater today and learning more about some sharks at the Tennessee Aquarium, plus a very large shark that's going to be at the IMAX Theater coming up, and you're going to want to check it out. Joining us now to tell us all about it is Tom Benson with the Tennessee Aquarium. How are you?
I'm doing well, Kay. Thanks.
Thank you so much for being here. All right, let's start with that very large shark, great white shark.
Yeah.
We are talking about Jaws.
We're going to need a bigger screen, and we've got one. Six-story screen at the IMAX Theater will be filled with Jaws. This is the re-release of that 1975 summer blockbuster. That was the first blockbuster. It made more than $100 million when it first came out. And it really tapped into some primal fear that all of us have inside of us about sharks. And I think that most people right now, just mentioning the film, have those two notes playing in their head. It's an earworm that's been with us for 47 years. And in that time, we've learned a lot about sharks and their role in the environment and how important sharks really are. In fact, Peter Benchley, who wrote that top-selling novel Jaws that then spurred the film, really in later life felt a lot of remorse for how his novel and the film demonized sharks and had people just fearful that these things were man-eaters and that they were eating machines. Prior to Jaws coming out in 1971, there was a film called Blue Water, White Death that was an underwater documentary, the first one about great white sharks. And the shark cage that we have at the Tennessee Aquarium is one of two that Peter Gimbel, the director of that film, produced to get the underwater scenery. So the connection to Jaws is Ron and Valerie Taylor, who were principals in the cinematography of Blue Water, White Death, were called upon to do the underwater cinematography for Jaws. And they had a miniature shark cage because they wanted the sharks to look a little bit bigger. And if you remember in Jaws, there was a scene where that giant shark is kind of thrashing the cage.
Right.
And they had lowered it into the water. And sharks aren't attracted to shark cages. It's just something that they're not going to attack generally. And so this shark got its nose caught in the rigging at the top of the cage, and so it was thrashing around as Ron Taylor was underwater filming that scene. He knew he had something spectacular, so he kept filming, and then they rewrote the script where Richard Dreyfuss's character Hooper actually gets out of the cage after the shark punches a hole in it, and you see that actual footage. But when they first started filming Jaws, this was a movie that almost didn't happen for a variety of reasons. When they started filming, they didn't have a cast, they didn't have a script, and they didn't have a shark. And at the time, they thought, well, maybe we can train some great white sharks to behave certain ways on camera. And then they realized, I can't do that.
Right.
So Spielberg came up with 3 mechanical sharks. None of them worked. And so he had to rethink the film, like, okay, if I can't film the shark, how do I do this? And it turned into more suspense because he took a Alfred Hitchcock viewpoint where your point of view underwater coming up on these people. So it was really good. There's a lot of interesting film history, and if you ever have a chance to see the documentary about the making of Jaws, it's pretty fascinating because for a lot of reasons this film almost didn't happen, and it turned out to be one of the biggest films of all time.
Yes, absolutely, ever. If folks want to check it out, they want to come to the IMAX Theater, how do they get tickets, Tom?
Yep, so you can go on our website, it's tanaqua.org, and those tickets are available right now. So there's going to be several showings starting on September 1st, and we've got some mini posters for Jaws fans for those first couple of films while supplies last.
If you would like some more information about how you can get tickets and go check out the Tennessee Aquarium or the IMAX Theater, just head over to their website, folks. And if you would like some more information about this interview, please go to our website at WDEF.com.